You're listening to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, the show that proves no one stumbles upon success ever. With your host, Lou Need. Every Mondays and Thursdays, we deliver cold hard evidence behind the power of a robust morning routine. Get ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lou Need, and today I am elated and I am just really excited to have a very special guest on the show, Michael Shaw, founder of the Mastery Mindset Library, a psychology-trained coach with, get this, over 30 years of experience helping high achievers overcome anxiety and depression. And this one is key. This one is big because that can really hinder these high achievers from getting to the next level or leveling up. So without years of traditional therapy, this can be done. And so I'm really excited to dive into this, especially with the psychology background and how his approach is unique within itself. So with no further ado, Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's my honor to be here. I just have to say I love the mission of your show because it's not just about morning routines. It's about setting the tone for the life you're building and the leader that you're becoming. And a great morning routine, it doesn't just start your day. It really does shape your identity.
I agree. And that's what habits do initially. And it's right in alignment with the things that you're teaching and helping these high achievers level up, right? Going that extra mile. So let's talk about how you got into the field, because we really love a hero's journey, right? Because our lives can take different twists and turns, but the way we end up providing, living our purpose and serving others is really intriguing. So tell us about how you got started here.
Sure. So I'm Michael Shaw. And today I'm a mindset coach who helps leaders and high achievers break through the mental patterns, that limit their potential. And, my why is simple. And I say this from the bottom of my heart. I am the happiest man on earth. I am the happiest person you will ever meet. And I want to help others feel the same way.
Yeah.
And I want to help leaders and high performers stop leading from fear and start living and leading from alignment. Because when you come back to your authentic self, you not only succeed, but you thrive.
Yeah.
And to accomplish this, I have to share what I've learned on my journey because I didn't always feel like this.
Yeah.
I built a life that looked successful from the outside. Building businesses, competing at a very high level in all arenas, and always pushing for the next win.
Mm-hmm.
But underneath it all, I was running on survival mode.
Yeah.
And I was driven by trauma that I hadn't faced and beliefs that no longer served me. So, my turning point didn't come during a victory or any of my successes. It came during a complete emotional collapse. The persona that I had built to survive could no longer carry the weight of the childhood trauma that I had never fully faced. And that was the moment where everything changed, where the real work began and healing old wounds, rewriting my inner narrative, and learning to lead from strength, not survival, began. And that journey led me to create the Mastery Mindset Library, which is a framework that helps people rediscover who they are and live with peace, clarity, and purpose. What I can tell you is one of the most pivotal moments in my life came in 2008 when I was blindsided by betrayal. My fiance committed adultery and left. And in a flash, I lost my home. I lost my sense of family. I lost my sense of self and the stability that I thought I had as a father. And I remember sitting in an empty room and asking myself, how do I rebuild a life that I didn't see coming? I had to learn how to trust again, how to forgive without forgetting, and how to still show up for my kids while I was still healing.
Yeah.
And, what helped me was that wasn't my first encounter with emotional upheaval. I grew up in a home marked by domestic violence. And as a child, I took on the role of protector as a teenager, what I now recognize as a hero complex.
Yeah.
And when my father raged, I had to step in and save my mother. And that kind of wiring shaped everything. It shaped my relationships, my self-worth, and how I handled pain. It also shaped a lot of my success because it's what drove me. And then later on, as a father myself, I faced a different challenge. Now my children are adults, but I had to support one of my children through anxiety and depression. And this time I realized I wasn't the fixer, even though that's the natural inclination. I was the witness, right? I couldn't solve it. I could only be present. That experience taught me the deepest kind of compassion to walk alongside someone and without judgment, meet them where they are and not where I think they should be. And all of these experiences became the foundation of the work I do now, which is helping people move through fear, anxiety, and self-sabotage with practical tools that actually transform how they see themselves and how they live. And for me, very recently, 2 months ago, it enabled me to take one of the most meaningful steps of my life. I became a living kidney donor to my daughter's grandfather, which wasn't just a medical decision. It was a personal declaration that I now live in alignment with my values and not my wounds.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah, you said one thing as I'm listening to you talk, and I'm smiling because you said you're the happiest man in the world. If you're the happiest man in the world, Michael, I'm the happiest woman in the world. Because I know exactly what you're talking about when you said your approach is based on alignment. And then once you reach that space, you can then find your purpose and let that be embodied, right? Once you embody, absolutely, you can then live your life on the dialogue is different. The programming is different. So I want to ask, and this is going to be very, very super good conversation. How long have you been in alignment? And then explain to our listeners, what is that?
Absolutely. So I would say I have been in alignment now probably for about 12 years, which is no coincidence because I got married to my wife 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. And she been an unbelievable light in my life. And that's one of the reasons every day I'm just so thankful for the opportunity to spend each day with her and to spend I'm very much within an opportunity mindset because I understand that things can change in an instant. So I'm always very grateful for each opportunity that I have. But the shift of creating your I am declaration. Okay, this is where alignment comes from. You see me wearing this around my neck. This is my I am. Okay. And your I am declaration for me is 10 to 12 statements declaring to the world who you are and how you show up. Okay. And once you own that declaration, you can define your core values, 5 or 6 values that you will not compromise because they frame how you want to live. These become your decision-making filters, okay? If an action, an opportunity, or relationship doesn't align with these values, you either change it or you let it go, no matter how much money, how much status, or how much comfort it promises. Living in alignment isn't about perfection. It's about congruence.
Yeah.
It's making sure that who you are on the inside matches who you present on the outside, the leader you are on the outside. And when I say leader, I'm not just talking about business. You could lead your family. You can lead your religious group, your spiritual group, wherever you're leading. You know, it's about building your business, your family, your team, and living your life in a way that feels true so you can stop performing and you can actually start living and leading. And when you do this from alignment, your influence deepens and your decision-making sharpens, and you create a legacy that's not just measured in numbers, but in the lives you've impacted and the trust that you've earned. You know, and when you're in alignment, you never have that fear and that doubt because you're operating with confidence and with clarity because you know everything you do matches up with these core values and who you're shouting to the world that you are.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. That really clarifies it because you're looking at how high achievers can sometimes get trapped in the idea of performance and productivity and what that looked like. It is very different once you're coming from that core place. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
the one thing that you mentioned and I want to tap into is that you're living a life, not just a life of integrity, but living a life where your outside reflects what's inside. One interesting thing I find, though, is once your frequency changes from inside, the outside, the reality has no choice but to match it. Do you want to chime into? Let's envelope that.
Sure. So, like we had said, once you're in alignment, right? And I don't want to make this sound too easy, okay? Because you don't get to create your I am declaration and know your core values until you've taken the journey back to yourself, okay? And I work with so many people, and some of them very, very, very accomplished. I mean, top of the food chain, who tell me, I feel meh. I feel stuck. I don't feel anything. I thought I always was climbing, and the top doesn't feel like anything to me. And the reason for that is they're still operating from an outdated belief system. And that belief system was created in their ego. Okay. And that starts way back, usually before you're 10, 12 years old. You go through some sort of what we call primal trauma or psychic break. And that could be as simple as being an only child, receiving all this love and attention that you come into the world expecting because you don't know any better. And your parents decide to have another child. And all of a sudden, that love and attention is not all for you anymore. And what are your choices of what to do at that point? Your ego tells you, I'm going to overachieve. I'm going to do great in school or great in sports, and they'll have to give me the love and attention. Okay. Or I'm going to act out and I'm going to misbehave and they'll have to pay attention to me. But I like to focus on the overachiever. Yeah. Okay. Because you do that and you do get attention. Okay. And love. And maybe it's from teachers, it's from coaches, it's from your peer group. And so that reinforces the belief. And you keep acting from that belief system and building upon that throughout your life. And all of a sudden, 3 decades have gone by and that belief system is no longer serving you because, as we know, energy out, energy in. Okay. And what it does is you start operating from fear of losing it, fear of, am I going to get that? You've never reconciled with your child self where that fear comes from and why you're doing what you're doing. So until you go back and take that journey, and that's the work that we really do. I do something with my clients where every day for 30 days, we examine a belief and determine whether that belief still serves us or not. If you were in a boat, would that belief help us float or would that belief sink us? And if it would sink us, we thank it for its service with love from our heart because it did help us at one time and we cast it out. Yeah. And then at the end of that 30 days, we have a reawakening. Okay, because now we have our new belief system and now we can create our I am declaration and our core values because we know how much that means to us. And now we can move forward and become enlightened and empowered and feel that happiness.
Wow. Yeah. And the high achievers that you focus on, give us some traps that you find that they tend to fall into without cognizance, without even like noticing and aware of it because they're so focused on achieving and performing.
Sure. So, there are 3 big ones. There's the success trap, okay, which is believing that the next win, my next victory will finally create fulfillment. And spoiler alert, it won't. Unless the win aligns with your values. You could chase these, you could create company after company or trade after trade, financial windfall after financial windfall. If there's something else, if one of your core values is spiritual connection or community impact, those things are not going to make you feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
Okay. Another one is the lone wolf myth, which is thinking you have to figure it all out by yourself. Your true growth will never come from isolation. It will come from connection. As humans, we are all connected.
Right.
And we need that interpersonal relationship and connection. And I would say the third trap is a fear-based drive, which we discussed a little bit already, which is when you're running on anxiety, scarcity, or the fear of losing what you've built. It works until it doesn't. And when it doesn't, it breaks you. And that's what we call burnout. And the antidote for all of this is self-awareness and alignment, right? Which is what we've been discussing. When you shift from I must win to feel worthy to I'm already worthy, so I can choose the right wins, everything changes.
Yeah. So then is alignment fulfillment?
Alignment leads to fulfillment.
It does. Yeah.
Sure. Because like I said, when you are in alignment, it's an automated decision filter. Okay. And it clears the noise away and it clears the confusion away in your life, because you are fully, you have the clarity to make the decisions that are in alignment with how you feel in your heart and your soul. And that lets you walk through life confidently. And when that energy is coming out of you, what comes back to you is extraordinarily fulfilling.
Yeah. I've gone through a similar transformation in the last 6 months. And it's by divine that we're having this conversation, and you've lived it for, you say, over 12 years. And that's why I'm like in awe of how amazing life has been and sweet for you, because that's the result of living in that place. Once you embody this, that we're discussing, this sense of alignment of like, I'm already worthy. I already have what I want. And just that sheer of waking up with peace and just happy because you are.
Great word. Yeah. And I can tell you, I have friends and clients who are in the top 0.1% economically in the world. Okay. And not one of them is happier than me.
Right.
Not even close. You know, that everybody's chasing the money, and I understand money is essential and money is a tool and it allows us to move through life easily, but it is only a piece. It's only a piece of the puzzle. It's without all the other things we've been discussing, that it will not create fulfillment.
I think it's a small piece too. And a lot of people are afraid to talk about that. It's a very small piece because it's a byproduct. It's a byproduct of your happiness. It's a byproduct of your productivity, your work. It's a byproduct of being fulfilled in alignment. Because if you think about it, if you create from that place, everything and anything will just multiply.
Right. Well, so just think about it this way. You do not have to have a penny in your pocket to help somebody. Okay. Whatever that may be. So when you help somebody, that's where your fulfillment comes from. Yeah. One of my I ams in my I am declaration is I am a true alpha, because I believe in always learn, always teach. Okay. So if I can teach anybody, I don't need to have any money. I can take the lessons I've learned in my life and I can teach them to you. And that brings me extraordinary fulfillment, right? It doesn't matter what car I drive to get there to teach you. You know, I can walk, I can take a bus, I can take a train. I'm going to meet you somewhere where you are. And if I can help you, I'm fulfilled.
Yeah. And I want to talk about the lone wolf. And you also talk about just recently about getting places, but I want to talk about the sacrifice, self-sacrifice, because a lot of people believe that that's part of the process. You have to dim your light. You have to shrink for the sake of, because we're talking about helping people too, right? Because we also have to help ourselves. I want to draw the line. I want you to help me draw the line between this helping people and not dimming yourself or shrinking or like selfish is good. Selfish is good. I want to say that.
I'm going to make this so easy. So easy. I would say if not 100%, 99.9% of the people listening to this today have been on an airplane. And what happens on an airplane when they give you your safety instructions?
Put it on
They tell you, you better put your oxygen mask on first so you can help everyone else. Yeah. That's it. You've got to take care of yourself so you could be your best self for other people. Otherwise, you're actually gypping the people you're trying to help. You're actually not letting them see you at your best, and you're not presenting everything you can to everyone else in your life. I don't care if it's your employees or your students or your children. If you're not your best self, you're not letting them have access to everything they could have access to.
Yeah. And that's the real you, the authentic you, without the performance, without the mask, right?
Sure.
There's a lot of mask. Okay. So you talked about the I am affirmations. And when you work with clients in the mastery mindset, your method is, I gathered, is you start with affirmation and then you kind of work through it. And in 30 days, they have a awakening. What are some other small daily habits that can dramatically help?
So what we can do is we can grind this mastery mindset method down into 5 key phases. The first would, as I mentioned, is revisit the break. Okay, your psychic break, which is where we go back to that primal moment of trauma when you shifted from the love of your soul to the fear of your ego. Okay, just think of your soul creates everything in the light and your ego creates everything in the dark. Your ego is there to protect you. Okay. And then the next step is awareness, which is identifying the unconscious patterns and beliefs that are running your life. Okay. And third is rewiring. Now we have this information. Now we replace our fear-based beliefs with identity-based beliefs. Okay. And now alignment, as we mentioned, where we live and we lead by our declared values. And finally is activation, where we create habits, boundaries, and systems that reinforce our best self. And when we do this, we stop firefighting and we start building our vision with clarity, with purpose, and with emotional stability.
Yeah, thank you for simplifying that. It really just breaks it down so that it is digestible, and I appreciate that. Now, let's talk about, I know you help a lot of high achievers. Let's talk about morning routines for a little bit. Like, how do you get up, dress up, and show up? And I'm sure you help your clients with that stuff too.
I do, and I always share what I do. And then we work on what is realistic and implementing in people's lives. But for me, my mornings are the anchor of my day. Mm-hmm. So one rule I have is no phone for the first hour. I don't touch, look, answer anything in the first hour that I wake up. This allows me to keep my mind focused and not reactive, right? Because we want to be intentional. We don't want to be reactive.
Yep.
Okay. Next for me, health and fitness is one of my core values. So movement, I either take a 3-mile walk or I go to the gym in the morning. Okay. Resistance training or stretching, walking, it just energizes my body and it releases tension. And as I mentioned before, I work on my opportunity mindset, which calms my nervous system and it centers my mind. And fourth, I every day repeat my I am declaration to myself. I probably do that 6 times a day at least. It just locks in my identity and primes my mindset for the day. And the benefits of this are consistency, clarity, emotional stability, and the ability to lead intentionally before the world starts making demands on my time and energy.
Right. Yeah. And that's what happens. It starts pulling away at you, and then it's no longer about you, especially running your own business. If you have a family, if you have clients. And so it's imperative that you take care of yourself first thing in the morning. Set the tone for the rest of the day, honestly, because if it starts chaotic, then you'll see the energy around the day gets a little messy too.
Energy out, energy in.
Yeah, you said it.
It's real. It's real. And if you want the simplest way to understand energy out, energy in, take a walk and just smile at people as you go by and notice how they smile back or say hello or pet somebody's dog and feel the energy that comes back versus just rushing through your day and ignoring people and ignoring connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then let's talk about for clients, what's ideal and how to implement something for themselves.
Implementation of this is literally just creating your own routine.
That works for you.
Right. Right. So, one thing I think is very valuable is before you go to bed each night, we all have calendars in our phone or however, or even if you're still using a written calendar, whatever it is, schedule the 3 most important things you need to accomplish the next day. Your 3 priorities for the next day. Okay. Just doing that allows your mind to rest as you go to sleep. Okay. Because instead of thinking of 10, 20, a billion things I have to do, or this monumental task I need, right, that you can't wrap your head around, just cut it down to 3, the 3 that have to be done. And that literally lets your mind rest a little bit. And if you rest better, you wake up better, and then you implement your morning routine better. And then you focus and go, okay, here's number 1. What do I have to do with number 1? A, B, and C. Boom, done. Check it off. What do I have to do for number 2? Boom, done. Check it off. You will be surprised how much more productive you become.
Yeah. And that's part of the morning routine start the night before. A lot of successful entrepreneurs state that it does. Because it takes that prep work, even for like working out, prepping your clothes, putting it aside. So you just kind of step into them. You don't have to, because willpower is not at your will. It's strongest during the day. Don't waste it making municipal.
Listen, there is nothing wrong with making life easy on yourself.
Right. Michael, it's been amazing. Go ahead and tell us, how can we connect with you? Where can we find you?
Absolutely. So, I mean, once again, I just want to thank you for giving me the chance to speak to your audience today. And for everybody listening, for those of you who are leading teams or families or building businesses, or however you're influencing others, that your leadership isn't just a role, it's an identity. And with this identity comes the weight of decision. So if you're feeling decision fatigue or self-doubt or the pressure to always have the answer, I want to help you step into a more self-aware, grounded, and effective version of yourself. And with that, I want to offer you 2 absolutely free, keyword is free, resources that I normally share with my private clients. And this is from the bottom of my heart. So it's no sales pitch. It's no fluff. It's absolutely free. They're just 2 powerful tools that I use with my clients to help them get unstuck and start moving forward with clarity and confidence, as we spoke about. So the first one is I'm giving you my fear to freedom formula, right? It's a simple but powerful tool that will help you quickly identify the patterns, beliefs, and blind spots that may be limiting your influence. And second is I want to invite you to a 60-minute alignment session, one-on-one with me, where we'll unlock the challenges that you're facing, identify where fear or outdated programming may be steering your decisions, and we'll map out a clear plan so you can lead with confidence, clarity, and purpose. And it's not a sales call, it's a strategy session. And it's my gift to you just for being the kind of person that is invested in your own growth. And to get them, it's real simple. Just DM me. Send me the word freedom on Instagram at michaelshaw.mindset. And some people misspell my name, so it's MICHAELSHAW.MINDSET. And I'll just send them right over to you. So just hit me with that DM, freedom at michaelshaw.mindset. And if you want to stop reacting and start living and leading intentionally, this is your moment, right? You can build the version of you that your business, your family, your team, and your legacy need. And as always, I'm extremely honored to be your guide.
Yeah. And I have to address our listeners, like morning enthusiasts. This is a deal, honestly, because Michael giving his time to meet one-on-one for 60, a very busy man. And that is very, very admirable. And thank you for that, because I have to say this work, this stuff, once you do it, everything becomes easier. Everything else in your life starts to fall in place. And it's worth it. I say jump on it, because this is the start of the beginning of the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And again, I'm so appreciative of what you're doing here.
Yes. My pleasure. Thank you again for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Anytime.
All right, morning enthusiasts, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or Google Play. While you're at it, tell a friend about the show. Be sure to visit bestmorningroutineever.com and our Facebook group to join the conversation. access the show notes, and discover our fantastic free bonus content. Until next time,